This is a book that recently came out. This book called "This Place Matters." It was put out by the Historic Columbus Foundation. Talking about the fact that this area was settled in the 1830s and 1840s by laboring people of Columbus. Many of them were free blacks or slaves or local residents. You know it better than I do. Many of you worked, played, and lived in this area. You know what this area means to us. And you know what it means to us as a community. You know what it really means to you personally. And the idea is, how do we get back to that point of rejuvenating this area to become a real central focal point for Columbus in terms of things going on. From this standpoint, our purpose tonight is we're going to give you basically a review of the Liberty District Plan itself, kind of a 30,000 foot view of it. But we want to let you know that there was a plan in action back. We got on here 2005. I've been corrected. That's really 2003 master plan from that standpoint. We want to make sure that we establish a common vision, a vision that all of us can buy into and enjoy and work toward making happen in this section of the community. And then we want to eventually develop this plan of action. How do we go about getting the plan off the shelf, or developing a new plan, and really making it work for us as a community? Instead of just going through the motion here of putting a plan together, putting pretty pictures together, putting all the text together, how do we do that, but at the same time go about actually implementing that plan? The worst thing you can ever do as a planner, if you want to do that, is let them create a document and then put it on a shelf, because it doesn't do anybody any good. And that's what we want to try and get beyond here to go along here with this process itself. Goals for the district, this came out of the plan itself. From that standpoint, these are goals that have been established about the planning process. Basically, it's to restore and maintain the viability of the area, to promote a sense of identity, pride, and confidence in this area again. Provide a safe and livable, desirable neighborhood. That goes without saying, but it just has to be emphasized here again what we're trying to achieve. Provide incentives for reinvestment and rehabilitation. We'll talk about that a little bit. You know, council, a little over a year ago now, designated this area as a tax allocation district, which means that is incentive for someone to come in here to help with the infrastructure and work with the city in making those things happen. That is something we didn't have back in 2003, and it's to our advantage now to work that and make it a useful tool for the community. We want to make sure that we got the right zoning in place here, zoning designated areas for appropriate planned uses. Talk about that a little bit. We want to make sure also we encourage this private market reinvestment and adaptive reuse. There's got to be a real reason for folks to come back to this area. Wish and hope is not going to get it. There has to be a real reason for folks to want to come back here and invest in here, to live here, to work here, to play here. And we got to come up with that kind of idea and that kind of direction. That's critical. The land use plan called for back really in 2003 that existing and public and private institutions, facilities remain. Here's a reality, I guess, for us all. This jail ain't going anywhere. So you have to work around that jail. We realize that it's not the prettiest thing to some folks, but it's there. It's not going to go away. And some of the other public things we've got going on in this area are not going to move either. So we accept that fact and we just have to move on. The Liberty Center itself will be a mixed-use living, working, entertainment on the 2 blocks around this building here. And I think we all have that vision. We want to show you a graphic of that in just a little bit here about what we think, or at least give you an idea, a vision about what the Liberty District, or this particular 2-block area could look like at one time. Mixed uses at the intersection of 6th Avenue and 8th Street. Mixed uses means you have places to work, you have places to live. You may have some entertainment, you may have some restaurants involved with that. You have a mixed use. It wouldn't be just simply sterilized in the sense of just being apartments or residential or commercial. You can have that mixing of those kind of uses happening. And we think that's extremely important to this whole project. Residential densities were called for to be the highest at the Liberty Center, at the commercial core facing 5th and 6th. That plan also called for commercial uses with commercial retail and service needs, be located along Victory Drive and along Veterans itself in terms of helping bind the community together. That's what that plan called for. Whether we still live with that plan or not, that's another question. But you need to know pretty much what that plan back in 2003 called for land use plan. This gives you an idea also in terms of what the future land use would call for in the future here. Pretty much everything really here in this area here, more multifamily, some commercial activities here. Again, right here, more residential along this area. Call for apartments, things of that nature along here, right in this area. It called for a great deal of input to happen. No? Okay. I'll stay on this side with the microphone. How about that? Okay, I'm sorry. But that's what this area called for here in terms of the future land use plan itself at that time. Laura Johnson, who's our Director of Community Reinvestment, I'd like for her to walk us through here in terms of what we've got in terms of community or city-owned property in the area.
Good evening. Basically, all of the properties that you see on the screen that are in blue are currently owned by the city. The city started acquiring properties back in the late 90s as part of an urban renewal project. And what they did is they started trying to assemble properties together in order to, and demolish the stuff and anything that was substandard on those properties, demolished them, and now the majority of them are vacant. So as you can see, where we are at the Liberty Theater, the city pretty much owns all of the properties around this area. So what the goal is once we are able to get this plan finalized, we hope that whenever what we identify as the needs or the wants in this area, we'll be able to put these properties back on the market and have some private investment come in to redevelop these properties.
I'm just going to talk briefly about some of the revitalization reinvestments that's been made already in the Liberty District. And you'll see from this map, I know it's really hard to read, but it includes the Mulroney House, the Mildred Terry Library, Columbus Commons, the redevelopment that Housing Authority is doing, the 6th Avenue flood abatement, the 4th Street Church daycare, the gas station that's going in here, and the resting gardens. So these are just the properties that have already been reinvested. This is the 6th Avenue flood abatement project, and as you can see, that runs the entire length of 6th Avenue from 15th Street to Victory Drive. This was a $37 million investment, and you can see from how large this flood abatement project is. See people standing and how much this is running underneath 6th Avenue. Also, the Mulroney House, there were grants involved for about $300,000 to revitalize the Mulroney House. Resting Gardens Cemetery, about $225,000 to revitalize this area. Columbus Commons, $20 million investment by the Housing Authority. This was the demolition of the BTW housing project and was replaced with Columbus Commons, and they'll be leasing out very soon. So we've had over $66 million invested since around 2000 in the Liberty District, anywhere between 1999 SPLOST to grant to streetscapes projects on Veterans Parkway, the development of the Housing Authority, and then also the establishing of the TAD district for the Liberty District. There were some missed opportunities in this area. When the Housing Authority originally came forward, they wanted to move the housing further up into the Liberty District and closer to Victory Drive. That was in 2012. That was approximately $33 million that
staff. And the real purpose of being here was to let you hear briefly from staff, and then we wouldn't want to hear from you. We are going to do one additional meeting. We wanted to do at least 3 meetings where we, because of schedules, we didn't expect everybody to come to the first or this meeting, and maybe we'll have a different group or more at the next meeting. We'd like to hear from you on your thoughts, your vision about what you want to see here as we talk about the master plan from 2003, as we talk about the vision going forward. We want to know if you think we should just tweak the 2003 master plan is sufficient. Maybe you think it's not sufficient and we should just start over and do a brand new master plan. I can tell you that back in the 1999 special purpose local option sales tax, the citizens approved $5 million for infrastructure and property acquisition here in the Liberty District. We've used quite a bit of that money, and Deputy City Manager Hodge kind of showed you some of the things we've spent money on. We've acquired dilapidated properties or economically depressed properties. We demoed those properties, and we were trying to prep the area and get it ready for opportunities for redevelopment. And then there were issues with flooding in the area, and that's why we did the flood abatement project that ended up being a $37 million project. We said that project, although it's $37 million, would not cure all of the flooding problems, but would drastically reduce or minimize flooding going forward. We believe the project has been successful. As part of that project, below 6th Avenue, those huge pipes that you saw, culverts in the PowerPoint are below the surface, and we were able to streetscape 6th Avenue all the way from Victory Drive or 4th, all the way up to 15th. And we were able to put a surface parking, 80 spaces right across from Friendship Baptist Church. And so, we tried to get some activity going with the Housing Authority project, and so it's been a slow process, but I think the time is right now to work together and move the Liberty District efforts forward. And so I want to hear your vision, but at the last meeting, and I'll share with you what my vision is. And so I ask that you don't be critical of my vision, because I want to hear yours. And we all have opinions, we all have thoughts, and we all know what we think we would like to see. And so I have thoughts and what I think I would like to see. And I'll say this: I grew up in the Phoenix City, Columbus area. And so I knew the Liberty District when it was vibrant. I came to movies right here in the theater. I walked all the way from Phoenix City, Fred Douglas Apartments, public housing, all the way across the bridge, all the way over here to the Liberty, to go to the movie. When I was old enough to drive, I drove up and down 6th Avenue I know all of the activity that was going on and the various businesses. In fact, on the corner of 9th, there was, I can't remember the gas station, Lula U, there was a Star, you know, stopping there a lot because some of my high school buddies, and that was when you go and buy your gas and they had wads of cash, you know, and they just give you your change right out the pocket, you know, no cash register and all that stuff. So I remember all of the different activities, the Mayfair and Tallahassee Grill and all those different places. I'm from here, so I know all that. I saw all that stuff. So, but my vision, you know, I watched, you know, when I moved back here back home in 1984, you know, I remember where Uptown was. I mean, it was not the Uptown you see today. And I remember the traffic signal at 10th and 1st, they just put it on flash at 5 o'clock. And it stayed that way through the weekend, and then come back on Monday and, you know, they turn the traffic signals back on. Just didn't have traffic. And I watched Uptown grow and prosper. You know, they had a working group that worked together. And they were able to identify funding to hire a president and CEO. And I watched Midtown come along and it become economically depressed out in that area, Columbus Square Mall. And I watched it die. And then I watched it be resurrected. They were able to come together with a committee. They were able to hire, initially the director volunteered for a couple of years, and then they got him on payroll. But look at Midtown today. I was here when we started an effort with South Columbus, and we were able to identify funding and hire someone for a couple of years. And an executive director for Columbus South Inc. They had a board, it just did not survive. And so we were back really at a starting point with the Columbus South area. And so the Liberty District area would be a smaller area than all of Columbus South. And it's manageable. It's something that we can do. And so we need to identify a committee. We need to then identify some leadership on that committee. And we need to work together to move it forward. Now, my vision is, you know, I see Uptown, the mixed use, the live, work, and play, all kind of activity going on in Uptown. And I said to the group, the last group, I see the Liberty District as it's an extension of Uptown. In other words, the activity they've got so much going on there that the next place to go is the Liberty District for restaurants, hotels, mixed-use development, apartments, all the things that you want to do. Because there's not much property in the boundaries of Uptown left. And so this is where it needs to happen. Now, we got City Village going. Staff, they went up to meet with City Village last night. And so they've got an organized group, and they are, in fact, I received an email today, you know, as a result of that meeting last night, where people are on the ground and they're working, trying to get in City Village where they want it to be. Well, they've gotten out ahead of us because when it didn't work in the Liberty District, all the effort went to City Village. And they were able to raise money and hire consultants, and they've already completed a brand new master plan. Been to council with it. It's time to move the Liberty District before we can do that. so I've said to staff, what I envision on the street here in front of the Liberty Theater, and I want to thank Shay for hosting us. Thank you, Dr. Anderson. But what I envision, you got that? You know, I didn't know they were doing this, but they showed it to me. But I told them even before they did this that I envision streetscaping from 10th up by the jail all the way down to 7th where it dead ends. And the streetscapes in front of this building and on this street from 10th all the way to 7th should be as beautiful as it is in Uptown, with benches and, you know, the median and just everything they've got in Uptown. And we ought to be able to do what Uptown they do from, you know, during the concert series. We ought to be able to block this street off like they do between 10th and 11th. And we ought to be able to have live music out in the meeting. And so I envision storefronts, restaurants, bars, and the mixed use, and all of this activity going on. That's my vision now, right here on this street. In Uptown, they've got churches around there in that area, and they're still able to accomplish what they were able to accomplish. We've got lots of churches around here, and we can still do it too. And so, you know, and so my vision is that we'll have all that mixed use, and we'd have the streetscape. It'll be beautiful, and it'll be a place for people to come, a place for people to work. And I, you know, I said to the last group, I remember one night I was at a concert, outdoor concert on the River Center lawn, and there was an outdoor concert going on between 10th and 11th on Broad. I was able to walk over to the other one concert and come back to the next. There's no reason you can't be at an activity down on Broad or down here and say we're going to walk over to Broad, or we're going to walk over to the Liberty District because there's something going on. And so I'm looking forward to that day. And so we've got to have a committee. We've got to come together. We've got to work together. We've still got some Liberty District monies left. And if we need to tweak the master plan, if we need to redo a master plan, there's funding there to get it done. Unlike over at City Village, they had to go find the money. I'm telling you, there's money there, and we just need to organize, come together, and go to work. And so I'd like to hear your vision.
Mr. Superintendent, what are the technical boundaries?
The Liberty District is going to be from Veterans to 11th. Is it 11th? Yeah, right where St. James Church, right past there. And it's going to be from 10th Avenue to the north, the west side of Veterans, just across the street on Veterans, the other side of the street. Those are pretty much roughly the boundaries.
Diagram on it of the Liberty District and the area. I just want to make sure that I had it in my mind. Sure. You speak of the master plan for 2003.
Yeah.
Where can that be found?
Okay, it's on the website.
For the planning department website.
Yeah, planning department website, columbuscity.org, /planning.
Yes. If you can't find it, let me know, give me a call, we'll make sure you get a copy of it.
What's your number? What's your number, Rick?
My direct number is 706-225-3936.
And I'll tell you, we got some good comments from various people about their vision of the Liberty District at the last meeting. We're recording it, not to play it back on TV, but we want to make sure we capture what you say. And so after we do the 3 meetings, you know, staff will pull together the notes, and then we'll probably have a follow-up meeting to tell you what we think we heard from you. And we want to make sure that what we heard is what we heard, and so you can verify it. And then I think we got to start organizing with the committee. Yes, sir.
Good evening, good afternoon. I'm like you, Mr. Hughley. Obviously, I grew up in Columbus, and this was an area where children and adults, they would drop us off down here, and we would roam the area, going into the businesses, seeing that the growth is like the brain, really, of particularly the African American community. I guess, and I don't know where you all are with it, but my thought is really, like many cities, we're in a period in history where we're trying to preserve our heritage, the historic district. And I see the Liberty as being an extension of the historic district as opposed to uptown. That's sure. Now, and in that context, I remember when we would come down on Sundays, people from all over the city to get ice cream over here by the railroad track.
Right, that's right.
I mean, and we just sit out in our cars and we would meet new people.
Right.
You know, that's kind of, now, one is that we need what I call it we need a movie theater.
Right.
A movie theater, off-Broadway type movie theater, a arts, you understand what I'm saying, a arts type theater where you're going to get, not just the popular stuff, but kind of a screening room type of movies, that's going to be enriching, and I think it's very, very important. And I've traveled the country as well as the world. If you go into cities and you go into a Chinatown, you go into a Mexican village, or you go into a Greek town like in Detroit. In other words, I think that right now we're kind of bland. Mm-hmm. And I think this district should bring some flavor of the heritage. Because people come to see this. As I was sitting here listening to you, in my mind, and don't take it literally, but it's conceptually, I was saying that, okay, we're bringing Westville up here. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. That captures a certain kind of dynamic. And I think that this area can be an extension of Westville later on. You understand what I'm saying? But more urbane Westville. Not so much the country or the rural that's kind of captured with Westville, but more in the urbane type. So I traveled to Little Rock, Arkansas, because obviously social planning is part of my background as well. And I saw where they had what they call the city market area. And obviously we don't, for a city of this sort, we don't have the flavor that you go to Atlanta, to DeKalb, or even in other cities where you get all types of food, fruits, from all over the world. And we have a very diverse population. And on Saturday mornings, I know, like in Detroit City Market, there'll be music songs written about it. But you can find anything of every ethnicity that's reflected in America. I think this area should be that kind of an area, embracing the early heritage of this area. So when we talk about the city market, the theater, the family recreation, and again, as you reflected, a culinary spot, perhaps more in the line of, healthy eating. I mean, healthy eating type situations. Health food stores, jazz spots, those things that tourists would appeal to, that has that kind of character. So I'm not trying to fill in all the blanks, but I'm just trying to say is that I think to capture, because I think it should be an inspiration to the community, because at that time, what took place down here inspired other parts of African American Columbus. Mm-hmm. And I think that reason why we have the north side, south side economic and socio-cultural divide is because there's no brain area, so to speak. There's no catalyst area. There's no incubator area to inspire and then have it to flow out from there. And I think that to recapture, again, that heritage and update it as an inspiration with that identity, with the backdrop of the historical structures that we have, I think that's my vision.
Well, and that's why I'm glad we're videoing this, because we would never be able to get the notes down based on what you just said, but we can go back and replay that video and we can capture that. But that's good. And I'm sure Lily can help me with this, because as you were talking about the ice cream, when I was a child, I was brought to the dentist, and all I know is that I think it's the building over here. I was upstairs. I had to go upstairs over the all I know is I remember it was upstairs in this little small little room, the dentist, and that's where I went to the dentist. And what was the doctor's name?
The dentist upstairs.
I knew
It
you
was upstairs. That's all I know.
Yeah, narrow stairway,
You're thinking
narrow stairway upstairs.
upstairs. You know what I'm talking about. But others, your vision, what do you, and I'm glad Councilor Barnes is here and Councilor Judy Thomas and
I just have a question. I don't have a part of the vision right
Yeah.
now. But speaking of the historical part and the vision, are there historical markers planned for this area?
well, no. I have not had a conversation as such, but once we get a committee and everybody, we'll figure out, you know, if there's
There's a lot of history.
Yeah.
A lot of buildings are now demolished.
Yeah.
But to place a marker for those buildings stood to their history.
yeah. Okay. Others.
When you go over here on this 8th Street and you're entering into the historic district,
Yeah.
there are two big griffins sitting on the wall that says Columbus Historic District.
Yeah.
I'd like to see something like that when you enter into the Liberty District. Letting people know that you're here in the Liberty
And I
District.
think I'd love to see that too. And so I know he's reported, but yeah, that's a great thought. It's kind of like when you go to places and
You know where you go.
Chinatown.
Yeah, it's a big
you know,
sign.
you
When you go to Chicago,
Yeah.
all these different ethnic areas,
Yeah.
Chinatown, Newtown, like this young man was saying.
Yeah, right.
But when you go over here, there's that those two different those lines and it announces you're in the historic district.
Yeah.
I would like people to know when they coming in here, you're in the Liberty Historic District.
Council Barnes.
As everyone knows, I'm not from here. But when I did come here as military, a number of times, my military career, when I was stationed here, one of the things that I always heard was the reverence for this area as far as African American history, heritage is concerned. And I made it a point every time within a week after I got sent here to come to this area because of the significance of African American presence here in Columbus. So I like what I've heard from some of these individuals here, because as an outsider, just coming in, I can remember back in the day when I was first assigned here, one of the things that I heard was you got to go there, the Liberty Theater, walk around and see, that was the pulse of the African American community. So as an African American, I would like to see, just as was brought up, as in other areas where you go, is the significance of that ethnic culture in those areas is pronounced. I would like to see something like that here because of the reverence.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, we can do this. I mean, the time is right, in my opinion, to do this. Yes, sir.
Well, I agree with everything you're saying and everything everybody's saying, but none of that's gonna happen if nobody invests in money here. There's a lot of influential black people around this area. I don't see any of them putting any money in the Liberty District. All this, what is shown on the board, you gotta have density, you have to have people. Without people, you have nothing. So it's great to talk about, and I understand what you're saying and what you wanna do, but if we're talking about something that's gonna take 30 years, it doesn't matter much. There needs to be a pilot project done soon, something to draw people in soon.
Yeah. You need to start a project.
We gotta have something.
And I referenced Uptown when I came back in '84 because I didn't see it.
Right.
It took 30 years.
Right. But I mean,
You know, and I
do we want this to take 30 years?
well, I don't want it. I'd love to see it in my lifetime.
Right.
But,
So would I.
but if we can't do it all in my lifetime, we gotta start the process for our children and grandchildren. and they're gonna have to carry it forward. I know I get that, you know. It took, and I think about Midtown. I guess it's taken Midtown, what, 10 years?
15 years.
15? 15. And, you know, so I don't want you to think that if I can't make it happen, like put it in the microwave.
No, I'm not
Yeah,
saying
I mean, we gotta,
I know it's not an overnight thing.
Yeah.
But, I mean, honestly, there should be you should have some tangible something in 5 years. It shouldn't take 30 years for anything in this planet to happen. because-
I agree, and I think we,
Offer
you
something.
know, we've gotta,
Offer is hard starting place. Offer is starting place.
yeah,
You offer a starting place.
yeah.
Don't say, you know, what y'all gonna know. You offer a thought of a starting place to get that done.
Yeah.
Wait now, hold on. The very first meeting we had with Sun Youth was 2005. It was 2017. That's 12 years right there. And we just getting to the beat. So I, in essence, agree with him. It shouldn't take 30 years. Okay, 30 years from now, most of the people in the room will be dead.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, you can't tell them, give them the idea where to start. You tell them where to start.
We got the idea, we just got to get going.
Well,
He
tell-
said the money's there.
I'm saying, tell them, tell
The
them.
money is there for a consultant to create an action. And that-
Oh, okay, so we're getting into the master plan.
Yeah, that's when I say, you know.
That's not gonna take 30 years. is it?
Oh, no, not at all. That's why I'm saying we need to bring the community together, we need to get organized, and we need to decide whether we're gonna tweak the existing master plan, or we're gonna say, look, the ideas that coming from this vision meeting are all different from what we saw in the 2003 master plan. We need to bring in the right people to pull it together and set some direction for us.
I
And
agree with everything
so
you're
we're
saying.
ready to,
Yeah, I'm ready to go, I'm
Yeah.
fired up, I'm ready to go, I just
Yeah.
don't wanna see, I'm like this young man here.
Well,
I don't want 20 years from now, we having another meeting.
yeah, I know, I wanna see it in my lifetime. That's why,
As long as you work out in the help.
well, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get to that. Was there another, Lulu, was it?
Yes, everything that's been discussed here, all of the visions that you've talked about here and the visions that were discussed at the last meeting are all in that 2003 master plan. When you talk about mixed use and live, play, they're the exact words that are used in the master plan. It also says in the master plan, and I've reread it, and I went back and reread it again, and it's 2003. It states in there that the plan is very sensitive. It says that it has to be revisited often. It says that it is a business, community, government, a joint effort that has to come together. And it's not something that's going to take place immediately. What you mentioned earlier, and you think of the years 2003, actually, and you say where we are today. Nothing could come or happen down here until the flooding issue was corrected. The master plan makes a point to tell you that nothing can happen down here. In 2003, when this was done, it actually said, nothing can come down here. You can't get developers to come into this area until that flooding is corrected. So to say that nothing's happened down here for that long period of time is not a valid statement.
Right.
It took a whole year, a little better than a year, for citizens, many of whom are in here now, plus others, who came to meetings continuously with the government to come up with the 2003 plan. There was a lot of discussion that went on. Isaiah was part of it. Mayor Bob Portishev was mayor at the time. The city manager then was Carmen Cavesa. These individuals, the planning department, the faces have changed, but all of those individuals came together and they put together a plan for it. Some of the things that have been shown today, but all the things we're talking about that we want to happen are actually in the plan already. I don't foresee us changing I don't see us starting all over again. Brand new, when we already have something that is in existence. And in the plan, it says that it will have to be updated, and that over a period of time, things would change, and it is designed the way it is to be adaptable, so that as change occurs, you incorporate those changes into it. One of the things that we really let slip past us, and we continue to talk about the housing authority moving from where it was and not relocating in the Liberty District. That was never part of the original plan. And so it was not a real loss to it. This area down here was always discussed and described and wanted to be as a mixed-use live-play area with parks in it so that you could walk through it. It was not to be total housing. It was, the plan on it was to be something like what you see here. Stores downstairs, housing upstairs with lofts. Lots of streetscapes, just like you see here. It actually talks about being a blend so that when you walk across 4th Avenue, as it was described then, and Veterans Parkway now, it was seamless. It was not a divide line between uptown, which was then downtown, and this area. Okay, it wasn't supposed to be that. What we truly lost was an excellent opportunity when we lost Spencer High School. Okay, in the plan, if it had been nurtured, the current art school out on Macon Road would be down here. The plan and the thoughts behind it was an excellent opportunity because the River Center is there, the Three Arts Theater is down there. We could bring together Springer, thank you. We could bring together all of these arts. And here the Liberty District sat right in the middle of it. And you could safely walk from one area to the other area. My history of this area goes back even further than yours. And it was more continuous than yours. So that there's so much more history down here that you don't know about. And that is that when Spencer High School was there, George Washington Carver came and visited there. Okay? He was brought there by Tom Houston, which is now Lance across the street. There were 2 huge columns that were established in Spencer High School when the school was first built back in the 30s. There were time capsules in there that told all about the history. We lost that. Okay? All we have left is what you see and trying to hold on to those memories in everyone's minds that are not here now. That is what this area is about. The first black officers that were put onto on the police department, the first place that they were given to walk the streets were the Liberty area. It was A Street. Okay? Because of segregation there, hey, they were not equipped to first train in a mixed area. The mixed area was us. And so they walked down here. My dad had a taxi company on the corner of 8th Street and 6th Avenue, which still stands there today. But let me try to actually give you some vision of what this area was like as far back as the 50s and the 60s. It was a vibrant area. It was filled with housing and it was filled with restaurants. We had watch shops. We had service stations. We had restaurants. We had department stores. We had insurance companies. We had cleaners. We had banks. We had auditoriums. We brought in entertainment. We had haberdasheries. This was in the 50s and the 60s. Some of those buildings are still standing on Fifth Avenue, okay? The area was so vibrant that the intersection of 9th Street and Fifth Avenue, where First African Baptist Church sits, was called Magic Corner because the first black bank was downstairs in the Sconiers building around there, and across the street from there was my uncle, my great uncle, I guess, building called the Pierce Building. Downstairs was a drugstore. There was a restaurant. There was an amusement center. Upstairs on the second floor were doctor's offices, dentist offices, all kinds of, there was even a dance studio up there. On the very top floor was an entertainment center. Much of the same people that performed here at the Liberty Theater performed up there. Adjacent to that building, which no longer stands, was the first and only black USO in the country. Okay? Records indicate that there was no other one in the whole wide world because black soldiers had no way to get from downtown out to Fort Benning once they got down here, and the buses didn't run anymore. So my dad decided to start a taxi cab business. Originated there, moved around the street to 6th Avenue and 8th Street. That's where you had the tally hole. There was a service station before 4th Street Daycare Center over there. There was a Shell service station that sat over there. There is, and that's just a bit of what's down there. Dr. Coffey, who was a pharmacist, a black pharmacist there, had the coffee drugstore there, but before he bought that building, he was in the Porter's building downstairs on the corner of 8th Street and 6th Avenue, and I know it for a fact because I have a picture of my mother on a bicycle when she was 16 or 17 years old, working in Carl's drugstore there, and that's where my mother, my dad, met my mom, and his way of introducing himself was he found out that she liked gardenias, okay? And the rest is history on that, okay? But that's what it was. It was a 3-level department store there. There was an amusement park, amusement center on the very top floor there. There was a shoe shop. There was Stretchen's Shoe Shop that was downtown, okay? Right on 8th Street. There were houses, beg pardon? Yes, there was
We had everything in this neighborhood that we needed.
You could. In fact, the whole place was like Magic City for us. You had Dr. McCoo, you had, they both delivered babies, Dr. Allen, Brewer. You had a slew of doctors that were down in this area. It was a very affluent area. When we talked about in 2003, turning it around, bringing it back, holding on to the memories that we once had, that is what it was all about. It was holding on to the memories, holding on to the history, but doing it through what we're talking about, okay? So you've got the slave cemetery that's over there. It all connects. And so there's so much more to this. And if I can just, for one thing, I was asked by the Columbus Historic District, and they did their book, and you did an excerpt through the beginning of it, to write an introduction to the Liberty Heritage Historic District. They published the book called This Place Matters. There is an excerpt in there. That's my big, okay?
You got it. Well, we'll use that.
And for any of you, everything I'm telling you about, I took time to research it for them and document the things I'm talking about. And to also document the locations of places that are down here in this area that are so significant to what we do down here that it survives and we carry it on. And that the markers that you were talking about, those places that no longer exist, that we can pass that on to our children. What I'd like to, and I saved my long dissertation here to last because I knew that I should give everyone else an opportunity to speak about it. And for me, yes, I have a great passion for this because I started out saying that this is where I grew up. I pumped gas at my dad's service station. I saw those officers on the street. I know the good and the bad of the area. And I know there's thunder outside. I want to get out. But can I just leave on this note from the Liberty District Master Plan from 2003, towards the last page, because it talks about conclusion. And you talked about you don't want it to take forever and no one's doing anything. But the writers, the authors of this, and there are many, close with, to repeat a continuing theme. The Liberty District is a complex, physical, social, economic, and political place. And that means redevelopment will take place over a significant period of time in a complex series of public and private investments. If either sector waits for the other to take more than a few steps without the other, the process will stagnate. Thus, the overall strategy for redevelopment must be to coordinate and manage public investment and private development to take maximum advantage of the significant interest in the Liberty District that has been displayed by local leaders in the planning process.
Well, thank you. Lula has the history, she has a passion for it, and we appreciate it. And we need to make sure that we get that and use it as part of our notes. But to go back to what you started out saying, a lot has happened since 2003. In 2003, we didn't have $37 million to do the flood abatement thing. You know, that money came later. And, but we did have $5 million that we were able to start to acquire infrastructure and do some patchwork on the infrastructure. That is why we asked the voters to approve that $5 million. And so we're trying to assemble property to encourage, because if you don't have property assembled, you know, the developers, many of the developers you'd be looking for, they can't do anything with small parcels. And so you have to have enough. So, yeah.
We're sitting in progress. I remember when this didn't exist here. That was good. It wasn't. So what I'm saying is that which we're sitting here now, this is already started. This is another phase for this process. So, you know, so that I want you to be optimistic because, you know, we can be optimistic because we know when it was the desert, and we already feel the vibe. The ancestors are still here.
So we're going to, you know, maybe we said we're going to let you go at 7, we're getting close, but we're going to have one more meeting, and we're having this series of meetings. We need to add another one, we'll do that. because we wanted to give everybody a chance to be heard.
I feel compelled to say this, and I hope I can get through this. I also grew up in Columbus.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about the Liberty District because of the segregation in this town. The only African Americans I ever saw were down on Ken Polk's corner, where we'd go down to take the woman who did our ironing to catch her ride home. So I didn't know that this area even existed. I was an adult before I heard about Ma Rainey, before I heard about Dr. Thomas Brewer, before I heard about Primus King. So whatever we do here, my vision is that this will not be just a place that our African American folks come to, but that it will be a place where we all gather, where we all go to eat dinner, where we all go to the art theater, where we all do all of this. And we can do that. And I am, you know, as Lulu was talking, the only time I knew about Spencer High School was during the Christmas parade because they had the best band. And that's why we went to the Christmas parade, was to see the Spencer band, you know. But when I went to school here, we didn't hear about and study any of this. I didn't know that our USO here was the only one in the world, you know. So I don't want us to lose that, and I want us to make it, I don't know, I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I want all of that to happen, but I also want us to be inclusive and together and proud of what we have here and what we can do.
And I think, I'm glad you shared that. But I do think we've done the things to get the infrastructure right, and now it's time to move to that next level.
Yes.
I want to thank John Renfro. He worked in the planning department. And John did all of this work. We didn't have to go outside and pay a consultant or somebody to do it. John did it. Any final thoughts on vision? No.
I'm very quick when I say something, so it's not about vision, but it is about, I don't know if y'all remember a movie about a baseball team. They played out in the field, they didn't want to build a stadium, and they said no one would come. Well, everybody came. So let's get it started, let's get it built, and they will come.
Yeah. So do we have a date of the final meeting?
It will be in August.
We'll announce that. And so after that next meeting, I mean, we will have captured the vision. We'll probably come back for a fourth, but it will be to share with you what we've heard. And I agree with you on the master plan. I think it's there, but I just want people to have something to say as to whether they want to just tweak it, if it needs to be tweaked, or if they want something new, and if it's tweak it or don't do anything with it, it's ready to go, then we'll move forward.
Right, I don't want to waste any more time on this stuff, John, and I don't want to necessarily spend some money on a totally new plan, but we can move forward.
And I really hope we can get to the point that we can identify funding, you know, through some grant, through some anonymous donor or somewhere, that we can hire someone to do this, to be the ombudsman, to watch over this and guide it every day. I mean, you know, that's, you know, and this is a smaller area than all of Columbus South. It's manageable. But, you know, with someone in Uptown doing it and someone in Midtown doing it, and, you know, we can do it. Yeah.
Isn't it true that the tax allocation district, you know, put it to
that plan may already be in place, we just need to say that this is it, and this is what we move forward with, and when we get that, I think we need to keep talking about the way we're talking now, because I guess, just to hear your side, it makes you get people, I love the history. You know, and, but, so any final thoughts or anyone wants to share the vision? We will have another meeting and then that final meeting. Thank you for coming, and we're going to get this done.